Hello and welcome to the Stansberry Investor Hour. I'm Dan Ferris. I'm the editor of Extreme Value and the Ferris Report, both published by Stansberry Research.
And I'm Corey McLaughlin, editor of the Stansberry Daily Digest. Today we're talking with the man in charge of MarketWise, CEO David Doc Eifrig.
We've known Doc for many years. He's our friend, he's our colleague, and now he's our boss. So let's not delay any further. Let's check in with the boss and find out what's on that mind of his now that he has been elevated to the position of permanent CEO of MarketWise. Let's do it. Let's talk with Doc Eifrig. Let's do it right now. Doc, welcome back to the show. Good to see you again.
Hey, nice to see you, Dan, and thanks for having me. Corey, I think last time I was on, I don't know if you were a sidekick to Dan. Do you guys recall?
Oh, I wasn't on it, so I do believe this is the first time.
And maybe I shouldn't call you a sidekick either. I don't know.
Co-host.
Co-host.
I like to think of myself as a sidekick. So
okay, all right. Well, thanks for having me. I'm going to harass you a little bit, Dan. You're back from vacation, allegedly. Yeah. Where'd you go to vacation?
Allegedly. I'm here. I'm not really back. My wife and I took a cruise up the Mississippi River from New Orleans to Memphis.
Oh, on the thing that I see advertising like Kiplinger's magazine and like a wheel?
Paddle wheeler.
What's the name of the one?
It was the American Splendor.
Oh, yeah, very cool. How long of a trip?
9 days. We stayed in New Orleans for a couple of nights and went to a couple of good restaurants, which turned out to.
And how high up did you go?
How high up? To Memphis. Yeah.
Okay, so New Orleans to Memphis. Corey, here, a question for you. Do you know where the Mississippi ends up north?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. See, he's a sidekick. If he doesn't know this.
I'm going to say Canada.
The basin goes into Canada, but the river.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Yeah, the river originates in, I think it's called Lake Itasca.
Lake
Itasca, Minnesota. Exactly right.
This is why I joined Stansberry Research, because Dan Ferris's exquisite knowledge of things.
And, the river itself, while we're on the topic, if nobody minds, is...
Let's keep the flow going, Dan.
Let's keep the flow going from the river. Yeah. It started like 50,000 years ago when the North America part of it was covered by an inland sea. And so it kind of drained that inland sea. And it looks like an old river. There are oxbow lakes all up and down the river. And it's like you're never going north. You're always going sideways. And it's amazing. And you can see on the map I was using, like all the places that used to be river, many of which are lakes now and little sidelets and things. I found that fascinating, typical of old rivers. And also it was busy, man. And it wasn't busy with any there were like 4 guys fishing. And I was like, hey, don't eat that. It came out of the Mississippi River. Don't eat that. But otherwise, there were no pleasure craft, really. It was just all barges loaded down, many of them with coal and like aggregates, like stone, building material.
Yeah.
We passed by what looked like an aggregate quarry that was loading up. They were just loading up barges. So it really, for the first time, it truly impressed upon me that this phrase that we use, the economy, we say the economy is doing well. I may never use that phrase again to refer to the entire U.S. economy, because I realize, things can be really humming like crazy on the Mississippi River, and yet, other people in other industries can be struggling, and some people can be doing even better. And it made me want to go a level deeper as an economist.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. We're going to stay on the river thing for a minute. So I don't know. I mean, I know your wife. We've met a couple times. We've been at a couple of company events years ago. and I know that she's or was in the travel agency business.
Was, yes.
Yep, was. And I don't know how romantic you are and not, but my question is, was this a relaxing experience, romantic with a spouse and stuff? Was it a chill kickback, like everything's provided? Like what was the level? Let me say this. I've always wanted to do that cruise. I've always wanted to do barges and river stuff in Europe. I just can't find anybody that'll go with me.
So I wouldn't sell it as the most romantic thing in the world, although there is a certain romance to the plantations and like old Civil War antebellum townhomes and things that we visited. And some of these, 2 of the 4 or 5 of these homes that we visited were occupied. The people were living there. The owner it was a private residence, and they were, just letting the public come in and take a look at it. So, these people are living there, and they've maintained these places. They're obviously quite wealthy, and they've collected artifacts from their families going back generations. One house where somebody was living on the property, maybe not in the house, was Rosemont, the home of Jefferson Davis, the former, the guy who was the president of the Confederacy for a little while, as long as there was a Confederacy. And, another one was just an old plantation house that, I think it was like a 4th or 5th generation occupant. Pretty cool. I found all that very fascinating. Lots of history. So there's that. And there's the food on the ship on the American Splendor is not good. Yeah, that's a reason not to go. But we went we went to dinner in Natchez at a place called the Magnolia Grill, right there, by where the ship pulled up and docked. Just a quick 2-minute walk up the hill, and there's a Magnolia Grill. Best shrimp and grits I've ever had, and I've had a bunch of them.
Yeah. Now, do you know if this is the Magnolia Grill from Chapel Hill, where the shrimp and grits I think was first put on the map, or maybe I have it backwards. Maybe this was the place where shrimp and the grits was put on the map. But there was definitely, in the time I was in med school at Chapel Hill, even before that, since the 80s, there was a Magnolia Grill that had shrimp.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a connection.
All right, he says Natchez. I once drove the Natchez Trace Trail, which was a fascinating experience. That's another story. I want to say something about the Mississippi. There's a fascinating law case about, I think it was in Iowa, where the Mississippi River changed and moved an island. It wore away. Do you know this story?
No, but it doesn't surprise me. Go ahead.
Someone has fought over that land and that space, and then the land popped up on the other side. The island moved essentially, right, from the landmarks, and the other state claimed claimed the property. And I don't know, it's fun. That's a really cool river. I've spent time being in Minnesota, Red Wing, Minnesota, and there's a Lake Pepin, which is where the Mississippi goes super wide between Minnesota and Wisconsin. I mean, like, you can't see the other side of and it's this giant lake that's this time of year filled with boaters and sailors and water skiers and canoes and fun. And how 9 days you say?
In July in the South.
Cool. Yeah. Well,
you cool yet? You're cool back in Washington yet?
I'm cool. Yeah, I'm cool back in Oregon here. It's only, like 85 here. It was like 95 there. So
I had the joy of being in Lisbon. I got back 2 weeks ago, but I was there during that heat wave. And Lisbon, the first part of it, we were at a Marriott, which was fine because you had a pool and you had air conditioning. The second part was with friends and family, had a VRBO kind of thing with a house that had no air conditioning. And it was 104 degrees during the day. And I don't know, it's been a long time since I've had to try to sleep when the air temperature and the bed temperature is in the low 80s at night. That was not fun. They had fans, so you were blowing fans and splashing water on, but oh man, that was tough.
Yeah.
That was not a vacation for me either. And the food, the food in Lisbon, It was good to be back in the U.S. All right. I'm acting like I'm in charge, but I'm sure you guys have an agenda.
No, we just talk. I pride myself, Doc. I pride myself on not preparing for these interviews. I'll have you know.
He does.
No.
That is true.
I believe that, but listen, if people don't know this already about Dan, you were one of the diligence checks I did, and Dan's heard this before, so he'll tune this out. But I went out to Medford, Oregon, met your wife, met your dog, maybe doggies, sat with you, saw your layout, saw that you had, like me, usurped the kitchen or dining room area for your own workspace. Not your wife was not happy with that fact, but that's where it was. Your garage was wall to wall books. I think she was also not happy with that. And then, I love this story. You're like, would you like lunch? And I'm like, sure. What are you having for lunch? And I think it was Coke, and you took hot dogs, you split them, and grilled them on the stove. Yes. And I was happy. You had mustard and ketchup, and I had hot dogs with you. But I was so impressed with all the books you had. You can look at someone's bookshelf and see if they've actually looked through them and read them. And you had all of my favorites you'd gone through, and then you knew stuff about lots of different things. So I found you. I found you and the Stansberry group, worthy of my me coming and joining. So, and you were an integral part of that. I know you've heard this before, so you have a special place in my heart. And in fact, by the way, I just reset the flight policy today formally. So, you and I don't want to get into that publicly, but probably not. So I love that experience. And you've gone back. You went up to Washington, to Vancouver, Washington, right?
Oh yeah.
And now you're back. Are you back in Medford now?
Yeah. We moved back to Southern Oregon in June of 2021 after 8 years in Vancouver, which I liked it up there. Lori did not. She was too far away from where her children were having grandchildren, so we had to move back.
Yeah, there's something about the Northwest that I really, really love. My family who have a place on Vancouver Island, and going out there next week for a couple weeks. Yeah, I love the Northwest. Fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
So that was back 2000. What was that? 2006, 2008 when you had hot dogs with Dan.
Oh man.
Yeah,
a while back.
Probably 07. Yeah.
Okay.
Might have been the fall of 07. I remember picked me up at the airport. Yeah. I think we went by. Was there a bar that you were playing, like in 2 nights you were going to be playing guitar in? And or
possibly.
Was there? I don't remember.
Yeah, there was. I was doing a lot more. I was playing a lot more guitar back then. Yeah. Boy, that the more I think about it, the longer ago it feels. It's almost 20 years.
Think about that. Like 20 years. Well, get this. I just had dinner last night here in Baltimore with a guy that I've known. I mean, holy mackerel. I've known for 55 years.
Wow.
And he's a friend of my little brother's. I mean, he's a friend of mine now. He's a CEO of a company that IPC data. I don't know if you know, they're privately held, but they're the ones that move all the information for banks and brokerages around the world. Like, they have most of the market share of this. And he's up in New York, and he's down meeting with some folks here in Baltimore who run lots of money. Names will not be shared, but we were sitting there. I was introducing him to Chef and the Maitre D', and I was like, wow, we've known each other. Kurt looked at me, and I looked at him. I'm like, 20? No. 30? No. 40? No. 50? 55. Wow. Yeah. So.
Well, I couldn't even know somebody for 55 years.
Yeah.
I don't have that yet.
Yeah. So that was nice. Well, I did prepare a little bit for anything we want to talk about, but
So maybe we really should talk about your recent appointment as permanent CEO of MarketWise. We don't want to. That's something that we can't. We can't not talk about that.
Okay.
It's very recent, just within the past few weeks here. And after what, a year or so as interim CEO?
Yeah, not quite. 11 months. August 13th was when I took over as a interim, as they call it. I was labeling it interim target because we'd had so many CEOs coming and going that so and I survived a few months and spent some time wandering around, and I was like, you know what, this could be an interesting challenge. Yeah, so it finally happened. It took I don't want to say it took a while to come to an agreement, but it took a while for me to kind of imagine that I could do it. I had to have a couple things in check. I had to have a commitment from a couple board members that they were going to support me for at least a year and a half. Yeah, and it's been great. It's been interesting. It's one of those things that if you'd have told me, I was telling my buddy last night because we were dining at probably the greatest restaurant, within 30 miles of Baltimore, called Charleston. Cindy Wolf is the chef there, and she, in fact, the restaurant just won National James Beard Award for wine and beverage, nationwide, which is a huge deal. She's been a bridesmaid so many times as a chef. I think she's been runner-up, I want to say 9 or 10 times, semifinalist, regional, nationwide as chef, James Beard
chef. If you told, I would not have believed that Cindy Wolf is not a James Beard Award winner. I can't believe that. I know. No, she's and Susan
Lucci.
Yeah, and the irony of the list, I would say, in the wine and food list. I mean, it's a great. Yeah. They have a food menu that the pairing is spectacular. If you do that food and wine pairing, you're not required to do so. And they always have wonderful, great wines. I mean, I can tell you this the other day, in the last year I've been in, and one of the somms there, I'm gonna riff with this here, but they've gotten to know me over the years. And one of the somms said, "Hey, you got to try this wine," and brings it out, doesn't let me see it. It's a screw cap. I'm like, what in the world is this going to be? Pours it in a glass, and it's this light, almost rosé looking thing. No fizz, no spritz. I taste it. I'm like, what in the world? And he goes, "This is a champagne grape." I'm like, what? And there's only a handful of grapes that I know of that go into make champagne. Pinot Noir is one of them. It's what gives rosé champagne its color. I have no idea. Well, it's Pinot Meunier.
Oh,
they had this Pinot Meunier from Australia. Somebody, instead of making champagne in Australia or champagne style, has this still Pinot Meunier. Gorgeous, beautiful, roasted strawberries. Went with this tomato gazpacho. Just wow. Talk about pairing. But they have weird wines on the list. So 6 months ago, I'm in there. We're interviewing somebody to come in to work for us, and I start telling the somm and chef Wolf that years ago I got kind of I just graduated from high school, went out to Napa where my aunt and uncle lived, and was tasting wines with Joseph Heitz in his barn. And Joseph Heitz Cellars, for those of you who don't know, is an iconic brand, and back in the 70s was one of the big names in Cabernet Sauvignon. They had a vineyard designation called Martha's Vineyard. But anyway, I'm sitting tasting with old Joseph Heitz next to my my aunt and uncle's house with my cousins, and he's pouring his favorite wines. He didn't care about the Cabernet Sauvignon, even though that was what he was making money off of. He cared about these 3 Italian varietals: Barbera, Charbono, and Grignolino. And I still have those 3 bottles today. They were 73, 74 vintage. And these guys look at me like, "You're kidding." I'm going, no, I'm kidding. And they go, "Hang on a second." They go get the wine list. And literally, they have 1 bottle left on the list of a Joseph Heitz Grignolino from like 2010. And they're like, we can't sell this to anybody. So you want to open it with us? I'm like, hell yes, let's open it. And again, beautiful, unusual, rustic wine that's not commercially possible. You'd have to be a wine guy. So I'm a wine guy. Anyway, I'm babbling about this, but the point really is what? I don't know. I have a point. A year and a half ago, I convinced her to pair her food with my wine. So we did like it's about like a 13-year vertical. We had 17 wines in total, a couple whites, a blend that was some Portuguese grapes, dry. And she did this pairing, Dan. And oh my God, talk about a night. And I think I endeared myself to her and she to me of the way she did it, the food and the excellence. But this guy that I had dinner with there last night was supposed to have come to that dinner, and he had this emergency meeting. He had to go out to San Francisco where these PE guys were hiring him for the CEO job. So he's been waiting to try her food and her wine since that night where we had my event a year and a half ago. And since then, like I said, I've got this sort of great relationship with her, I feel like, and the staff. So last night she brings out this like special salmon, horseradish creme fraiche, potato pancake thing for us because she knows I love it, and she's hand delivers it to the table. But what a wonderful, wonderful experience. I don't know how I got on this.
I think the point here is that if you want to be the CEO of MarketWise, you better know your food and wine. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh,
yes, this is the CEO.
Well, and the irony of this is the same restaurant that Porter first brought me to. All right, so listen, this is flowing. And so Porter, you guys know Porter, Dan for sure. Dan's lived with Porter. Geez Louise. Porter brings me there, and Porter's kind of wanting to be a little showy.
No.
And the Somm comes to the table, and yeah. And Porter says, "Hey, Dr. Eifrig, let's play a game. I'll pick a red, you pick a white." And so Porter picks some, Bordeaux that's I don't know, an obvious choice. Well, I picked, there's a winemaker. He actually is a subscriber to our stuff. A guy named Peter Michael. He's now Sir Peter Michael. He's a British guy, and he owns this beautiful, beautiful winery in Alexander Valley, Knights Valley, technically, and in Sonoma. Anyway, he makes a Chardonnay called Mon Plaisir, which up until around then, when the last couple of vintages of this wine was made, it was an unfiltered Chardonnay. And so there's stuff floating in the bottom. There's precipitate, in a white wine. Nobody in America really wants to drink that except wine aficionados that know it's not filtered. And it's, oh my God. The sommelier was like, oh, I whispered in his ear, Mon Plaisir, your 2004 Mon Plaisir. It's like, whoa, how do you know about this wine? And, which immediately impressed Porter, right? My point is, the key is you got to impress the people that own the place, and eventually they will make you CEO. But that was my first, could just smashed Porter on the ground. And I think what he brought out was like a first or second growth Bordeaux. It's kind of yawn. Okay, this is, Saint-Emilion. This is Merlot based. Okay, next. And the Mont Plaisir, Porter's like, what is this? This is beautiful, fantastic. Anyway. So that's how you get to be CEO. Know your food and wine. Impress the owners.
Yeah. So you were right, Dan. That was the point.
I'm noting it. I should write it down. Let me get a pen.
You should write it down.
What I want to know is, I think, the average person says, what does MarketWise do? I say, well, we publish financial newsletters, among other things. And right now, certainly at this moment as we speak, it's never been easier for one to publish one's own financial newsletter. And how does that fact really impact the business? How does it impact your view of the business and what you intend to do with it while you're the boss?
Yeah, wow. Sounds like I've got an analyst for Merrill Lynch over on the other side asking me about the stock.
Well, it is a very generic sort of, I mean, it is intended to be that sort of a question, in other words. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Dan, it's a great question. And it's if you're going to do a SWOT analysis, right? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. It's a threat. It's a threat. People being able to just publish anywhere, even give lots of free advice, and you can pick it up. And I would say I want us to be recognized and sell and market it as we are a trusted source of information. And we might take a little while to convince you that after you get your first letter from us, after you read some free letters. But I really want people to know that that is what we are. And we believe it's a fair deal to pay for that. My analogy would be like, okay, you can go get healthcare advice. You can go to a person with multiple different kinds of degrees, and they can claim to be giving you advice about your health. But the fact of the matter is, you want to get serious about it, you probably should go to a well-trained MD, an internist probably, because they've had 3 years of studying adult human medicine. They've had to be in an ER. They've had to work on people in an ICU. They know, going to a sports trainer who says you should start taking creatine because it'll help you with your aging. Not so much. So we can get free advice, probably been able to get free advice on lots of different things for a lot of time, but I want us to be known as a trusted source. And you get that by having, I think, real people, real information, curate all the information that's out there. I mean, in addition to having easy to publish, it's easy to analyze and get lots of information. And I don't think AI's got that yet. I don't think AI has wisdom yet either. And, I would define wisdom as having seen things in certain states and then remembering what happens. So that's my answer. I don't know if it's a good answer. I don't know if you're happy with it, but that's my plan. I mean, one of my ideas is I think people who get our free e-letters should be turned off. I think our free content is really good. And I think at some point, if you're not going to buy another letter, you got to pay up for your free content. And I'm probably going to institute that I've been planting seeds of that idea, but it's okay to sell your information.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's more than okay. And more people than ever are doing it, which was the whole point of the question. I think that's a great idea. I think it's a good answer, and I think it is a good idea. I didn't know you were thinking about doing that with the free letters. It makes sense, somebody gets something for free for 10 years and doesn't spend a penny otherwise. They're kind of sending you a message about the value of the content.
Well, they're clearly saying that if they're reading it and they're opening it, I would only go after the people that are opening. They value it. It's like in the wine trade. If you have a tasting room, you can't let the manager of the local jewelry store or the owner of the local jewelry store come in every Friday night and taste your wine in your tasting room. You got to charge them something. And so eventually you say, hey, look, why don't you buy a bottle of wine? You can just keep it here and you can come back you want to drink in our tasting room on Friday night. We'll gladly have you, but you got to buy your bottle of wine. I can't keep pouring you free wine because you've tasted my wines now. You know all the wines I have. So we're done giving you free tastings.
Interestingly, this is a bit of a digression, but I can't help noticing that some pretty, as far as I'm concerned, on social media, some pretty important folks. One of them is absolutely important. He goes by the name of Rudy Havenstein, and he has a huge following on Twitter. And he had a paid Substack for a little while, but he's not doing it anymore. It's for free now because it was just kind of a hassle for him. And I noticed there was another guy, I forget what title he goes by, Rational Markets or Rational Investor or something like that, sort of chimed in the conversation, said, yeah, I did this, just, it's easy if you do this and this and this. So these guys are producing some of what I consider the very best content. And they're saying that as a business, it's like not worth it to them to bother with it. And they'd rather just do it for free. Rudy complained that having to come up with consistently good content, when a regular schedule was difficult. And I can tell you, having, my, including the podcast, 10 deadlines a month. Yeah, no kidding. It's hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, life's hard, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to show up and do some work, do the grind.
Yep. Anything that's a business, it just the execution has to be consistent. It just has to always be there. Yep. And that's really hard to do. I think Stansberry actually does I'm tooting my own horn here, whatever. Take it for whatever you think it means. But that has been the amazing thing about it. And that's very much, to me, I see that as a big part of Porter's legacy, because he's relentless. He's a worker. He's highly energetic, highly motivated type of a guy. And he's always executing and executing and executing. And he found a bunch of people. I mean, I'm amazed. I was one of the first 2 or 3 or whatever. It was like me and Lashmet and Steve Sugarroot in the beginning. And then all of these people, I mean, we had, Brian Beach and Mike DiBiase and Alan Gula, all 3 of whom we've had on the show, which is why they're kind of top of mind. Greg Diamond, like everywhere you look, we've got another really impressive Gabe Marshank. There's a name I know you know well. Just it's I guess it's satisfying and rewarding to me that the place that little old me works for can attract people of that caliber doing the same thing I do.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I think we got another guy, Josh Balin. I don't know if you've met him yet, Dan, but he is a tech guy that we stumbled across. And I talk about somebody who lives, eats, breathes tech. He's here. His parents live in Baltimore, so he's come from the West Coast. And when he stays, we can't put him up in a hotel. He wants to go stay with his parents. And Dad is an 82-year-old, still practicing dentist. Josh has gone to make sure and check. Dad, hold your hands out straight. Dad's not tremoring. Right. So Josh is okay with Dad doing it. Mom, they're out and vibrant and living life. But his mom was having some pain getting up and a knee and getting around. So Josh is showing me just literally Tuesday in the coffee area this machine. I forget the brand. And it's a power assist thing. It's like what the company up in Boston, it's like a robotic leg. And there were 4 settings on it, but he showed me putting a video of him putting it on his mom, attaching, and her moving in it. And he had to turn the setting down a notch because it was giving her too much assist. But he said his mom was like, "Oh my God, I can walk again and get around and there's no pain." And so here's a guy living, breathing, eating, thinking about tech, buying tech. He bought a little robot dog for one of his kids this last fall so that it could carry his golf bag on the golf course. I mean, just thinking about tech, breathing it, eating it. So yeah, we attract these folks that I think are just great. And he looks like he's going to be a great storyteller, great analyst. He's done some fun stuff with AI. He's already helped kind of in our back office with AI stuff. Yeah, amazing.
I've seen that robot dog thing on the golf course out back of my house. I was like,
oh, cool.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Yeah. That's cool.
You don't golf, do you?
I don't play, no. I live on a golf course, but I don't play golf. But a bunch of my neighbors who live on the course don't play, so it's sort of
right. Do you get? Are you on the proper side of a hole so you're not getting fades on bad shots coming into your backyard or side yard?
No, I'm not on the proper side. I'm on the side that I'm on the right-handers hooking side. Yeah.
Oh.
And we've gotten them, on the roof, in the backyard, in the pool. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It happens.
Have you thought about putting a stand out there saying, "Help yourself, take one, pay $1, put a little cup, collect money during the day"?
Have not thought of doing that. No. Nope.
That is a nice idea.
It's a retirement millionaire hack, Dan. This is a way. I don't know how many you're getting a day.
What I thought of is shooting the golfers with a pellet gun. That's what I came up with.
Oh, don't do that.
Don't worry.
You'll be arrested now.
if they return, they'll think twice about hooking it into your backyard, though. At that point,
it would discourage ones from behaviors. All right, so if I could get, I just want to get the last word here on being CEO. I feel like that there was a Monty Python skit where the guy, the punchline, without going through the whole thing, the punchline was, "What's it like?" It's, I mean, I know what the company is like.
I'm not dead. I'm not dead yet.
That's right. Yes, you are. Yeah, but I know what the company is like, and I know, I've known every CEO a little, to a certain degree, some more than others. What is your experience like? I'm having trouble formulating a question. I just sort of, what I guess I really want to know something that you probably don't want to tell me, which is, how you're different than other CEOs, but then you'd have to talk about other people. So we don't want to do that. But maybe what you bring to it that is different and better, because I think I know what it is, but I want to hear you say it. I mean, I know what I think it is.
You don't want to tell me first and have me go, yeah, you got it, Dan. That's it. You got it.
Yeah, I mean, I can give you the answer if you want, but it feels like cheating.
Well, give me the answer, and I'll tell you if I agree, or I'll unless you just want me to take a stab at it. I don't know.
I just feel like besides Porter, you're the other person who gets it. And of all the other people, I mean, some of the folks who've held this position, they're great, intelligent folks. Some did great work for Stansberry, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But every time one of them got into the position, I was like, really? Them? I don't know. I don't know about that. But when they put you as interim CEO, I thought, interim, God, what are they doing? Just make him the boss. I promise you, he understands. Anybody who has produced the body of work that you have, all these publications, and just the nature of the content you produce, like anybody can read your stuff and they'll look at it and they'll just be nodding. They'll say, yeah, that sounds right, even though it's something they didn't know before, right? They're learning stuff, but you have a way of sort of making people feel smarter as they're reading it. And I don't know. I just thought of all the folks, other people have produced great content, but I just didn't think they got it in, and had the desire and background and sort of leadership quality that you did. I sounded like I knew exactly what I thought, but then when I started saying it, I sound like I don't know exactly. But to me, as soon as they said, you were interim CEO, I said, that's great. Just keep him around for 5 or 10 years. And this thing has got a real chance of doing something great. The same way with Porter, I just think you both understand the business and have a way of telling everyone, this isn't what we do. This is what we do. We're not in this business. We're in this one. And that is so important. Knowing all the businesses we're not in so that you can focus on the one we're really in. That's super important. And I think you get that.
Yeah.
So,
well, thanks. I mean, who do I owe it to, my dad, Pat, putting the sort of adages of time in my brain. I think, reading, studying, getting an MBA, and then going to, becoming an overeducated derelict, as I like to say, getting my MD degree, doing the biotech stuff, doing the molecular biology stuff at Duke, med school eventually. I think the thing, I think how it came together for me is it was an intellectual challenge, right? That, gosh, you could be the CEO of a public company, one whose execution of the going public you saw 9 months ahead of time as going to be a disaster, and no one listened to you, right? So even the friends, the close friend, like just people sort of ignore me. Oh, that's Doc, the old grumpy guy in the corner that writes Retirement Millionaire and Retirement Trader, and what could he possibly know about our business? And I'm not saying anyone said that formally, but I definitely felt that. I definitely got pushback. When I see now being in the spot, I get to see stuff, right? I can go and look at old emails and flow of information. I can see the actual pattern because now the legal department has to share this stuff with me. I mean, there's stuff that you would just never, I was brought up to never, ever consider doing. You know, my boss right now, I have 7 bosses. It's the board. One of them is Porter Stansberry. So the idea that Porter, as a 20% owner, 25% owner of the business when we launched, those prior CEOs who drove by his house within a mile of his house wouldn't stop by with flowers, bottle of wine, a gift for his kids, anything on a monthly basis, let alone on a quarterly basis, let alone twice a year or once a year. I mean, I dine with him once a quarter at least. I text with him. Like, I'm connected to a guy who founded the business in a way that it's just out of respect for the history of this place and his wealth that's in it. I don't know. So when I had the chance to, like, wow, I can control the outcome now, and I felt, like I said, for a long time, others didn't get it. And now Porter, I think, trusts me for that. I got a note from him. I mean, he was like, bravo, I'm standing and I'm applauding you right now, Doc. This is like, like, to me, that's just spectacular. Now, I didn't do it. He's giving me credit for it, but it's everyone around. It's the guy over here listening and watching our production show. It's you guys there doing all this stuff, the day-to-day grind. For me, I mean, you asked, like, back to the original question, what's it like? And what I found interesting, it's something I don't think I ever did this until recently, maybe in the last 3 years. Listening to people and not worrying about taking credit for ideas and trying to find good ideas and make a decision. Now, let me tell you, it took me 2 years to buy a Subaru Outback.
I think I've heard this.
That's the kind of data. Yeah, that's the data and information. I'm an information junkie. And worse, I'm a non-decision. I'm imagining that if I wait in time, God's going to come down and give me the thing that says Outback. Okay.
Yeah.
And what I've had to do here is go, Dan, I see that. Yeah. Corey, what do you guys think? And then you tell me, and I go, oh, you echo it back. If it sounds reasonable, I'm kind of blessing and encouraging you to take that jump, and I still find it hard to give myself permission to take that jump, but I'm having fun doing it. I read a book by Marie Kondo. Do you know this? Called The Joy of Life, The Joy of Organizing. It's about, she's a Japanese woman, and about organizing your stuff and things.
Oh, yeah.
And she's, do either of you know her, Marie Kondo?
Anyway.
It's the minimalist kind of keeping stuff.
I mean, it has to be, because she lives in Japan, so you've got to, your bedroom is smaller than this table here in front of me.
The life-changing joy of tidying up.
Yeah. And she speaks to, like, hold this thing in your hand. Does it give you joy? If it does, find a place to display it, share it with people, share the joy with everybody. If it doesn't, pass it on to somebody else who will bring joy. And man, that has helped in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Again, it's kind of like, I don't know. These are all these things that you go through, and maybe as I get older, you contemplate what's relevant and important. But I think being able to listen to people, imagine it's my idea, doesn't get me anywhere. Like, and saying it's my idea. And you saw the memo from last week, right? And I kid you not, there are people in the company who claim that they were pitching these ideas 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 9 months ago. And when they say that to me, I'm like, well, it's fantastic. I am so glad that we've been able to come together, and that I've been able to relay it to everybody, and we've been coming together and do it. So it's not about me thinking, I thought of it 9 months and a day before they did, or 6 months, or anyone thought about it. It's like, yeah, we're doing what makes sense for people, to bring out creativity, to improve marketing, to share best standards. And like, credit. It's weird. It's like, I don't want to say I don't care, but I don't care anymore. Someone asked me today at a tech meeting, like, the stock price. I'm like, I don't care about stock price. I care about having fun at work, care about you guys having fun, us enjoying what we're doing, going to an alliance meeting and having people come up to us and say, Doc, I know your investment advice is good and I know Ferris is good, but the best thing about this company is your health advice. My wife and I follow your health advice in Retirement Millionaire in the back half. Like, yeah, I don't know. That's what it's about. Just,
yeah.
Anyway.
I'll just say when I joined Stansberry 2019, one of the first publications I worked on as editor was Income Intelligence. I don't know if you remember this or not. It was like for I don't know.
I hope I scolded you, and I hope I was rude and mean and told you
6 months or something, but no, not at all. But what I picked up on right away was how much you actually care about the reader, the subscriber, the information, all of that, and just accurate, honest information. And that's also what I'm hearing right now too from you. Is like, but not taking the credit for what other people are doing, but setting that vision. So
yeah. Well, and being, pure care, I think everyone loves to be around it because it creates really wonderful, fun experiences in life. I'm going to tie this back to the food thing. So I happened to be across the street at Chingale in Baltimore when news spread that Cindy and the Wolf Charleston's the restaurant had won the James Beard Award. And she was in Chicago accepting that with their wine buyer. And Tony Foreman, who was her ex-husband, came through and, he shared the news with me. I'm like, oh man, that's fantastic. And then 2 nights later, Cindy's back from Chicago. And well, first of all, I went over to Charleston across the street and they popped champagne and I got to celebrate with them. And then 2 nights later when Cindy was there, I checked, like, when is Cindy going to be coming back? What's the first night she's going to be in the restaurant? What's the first night she'll be here cooking again? And I came a night earlier because I thought maybe she's going to come in but not cook, like she's not on the schedule. But I can't imagine her winning this award and not coming immediately back to the place of the people that did it. So she actually, turns out she was there. And like, we talked about caring like that night, she and I and the staff, and they were teasing me and I was teasing her and they were teasing her, that the reason she won the award was, and again, if she hears this by chance, I don't think this at all, but they were saying, oh yeah, because you did that wine pairing, you did the food pairing with Doc's wine a year ago, and that's why you won. And I was like, you guys, that's wrong. But we laughed and chuckled, like, oh, she rolls her eyes at me, goes like, yeah, of course you think that's why I won. I go, like, you did. I care, you care. That's what the key is. But we talked about this caring every night, day in, day out, about what it is you're doing and the experience you want to give. And there's nothing better than that, I think.
And the ultimate expression of that I've learned myself over the years, took me a long time to get it, but I finally got it. You're writing all this stuff, and we publish 10,000 words a month with my name on it. And I don't even know, like, that's probably per week with Corey. I mean, honestly. And I learned finally that the ultimate expression of caring about what you're doing is, like hours from a deadline, you cut out 20% of the thing and say it's not good enough and get to work, fixing it. And the first couple times you do that, you're terrified, but then you're also, you eventually, like, it feels less like you're beating yourself down and more like you're flexing your muscles. And it feels like this is how you do it. This is how you care, show that you care and do something better. Like, it's not having a great idea and telling somebody about it. And then, it's deciding this is where I draw the line. and anything, to the wrong side of it can't be, allowed. Great
Right.
moment for me, and it made me a much better writer. The stuff that and this is another one of my via negativa rants. The learning of life is about what to avoid, and the showing how much you care is about what to avoid and what's not good enough. You care enough to say what's not good enough. Yeah.
Well, my gosh, think about someone who cares about words. Carly Flippin.
Yeah.
I mean, holy mackerel. Could you and honestly, I don't want to say overlooked by management, but if I had to say who's the person at the company who has shaped my success, it's absolutely Carly Flippin has had a huge role in that, because I know and I believe and still think I am a shitty writer. I know that I want to help people. I know I want to get ideas across. I know I have a team now that writes a lot of the stuff. But, when I'm editing and trying to fine tune what it is we're trying to say and get across, it's still Carly cares so much to make it better. And it's just, I don't know, man. It's so fun to be around him. Dan, you can appreciate this, but one of the routines Carly and I had always had on Retirement Millionaire, this is when we were always in the office, is the day before publishing, the drafts had gone back and forth, some edits, and I accept them. But then they're like, okay, I'm going to send this final thing to him. And there are things that I disagree on. Like, okay, this is okay to have this pun in here. This pun is a perfect pun. And Carly just has an absolute no pun rule. But there was always this moment where we would get together and go sit in a room and sit down. And, often it's Carly typing because he types faster than I can. And we're working through wordsmithing the things that we agree and disagree on, changing headlines, even the titles. And my point is, when I was doing the memo that went out last week to the company, we had that same moment again. And it was just so fun because I don't know, you know my office, Dan. Carly's on the floor and he's like 2 banks away, so he can't see me. I'm in my office. And he had gotten up and started walking with his computer in hand. And I got walking up with my computer in hand. And we looked at each other. It was like, true, love. Right. And we just walked in this room, sat down together, and did this moment again of caring, right? Carly could have said, like others did. Listen, this went out to a couple of people. Carly's like, no, you got to do this, this. Others were like, oh, it's great. Send it. Carly's like, no, you did that. No, that. And it made it better.
Yep. Well, I
can't remember reading any puns in there either.
Right. No,
no.
No puns.
It's very rare that I can get them by.
But yeah, I'm totally agree with you with Carly. He's one of the reasons when I first started why I was able to fit in as hopefully as well as I was able to. But so anyway, it's just about the people that and Dan brought up too, that who the company's attracted. I mean, I can't imagine what you guys think of the whole company as a whole now, just from where it started. I mean, it's got to be I don't know, what is that like, Dan? I don't know.
Yeah, it was a different beast back in the beginning.
Yeah, and look, we have all these pockets now in places, and sort of verticals, if you want to call them, or brands, and folks in there doing it. But if you look down the list, Mark Chaikin cares as much as anybody about what is going out to his subscribers. Joel Lippman, Rob Spivey care as much about as Dan does, and I care. Jeff Brown writes his daily every morning. It's one of my favorite dailies to read, to learn about tech that I just had no idea existed in the world. And he's tapped into it and he cares, I believe. Eversole. Anyway, it's as equally fun. And I just feel like in the background, the marketing, the copywriters, there are several copywriters here that really, really care. And, to me, like, you got to get copywriters that want to sell, that truly care, not about the sale, but about the customer. And those are the ones that are really starting to see and have success. couple young ones I've worked with on a couple projects now. I mean, it's so fun to sit with them because I'm learning stuff from their research on topics that I think of myself as a reasonably savvy, not expert, but knowledgeable. And I like, how fun is that? When was the last time, you could sit with a copywriter where they're teaching you something about anything? I mean, and I mean that in the nicest way, other than like, I know a lot of stuff, and juniors takes them a long time before they get up. But many of these seniors now, they're bringing it. They're bringing it to the table. Anyway, it's.
Yep.
I think we've trimmed down from a place where we weren't doing that. We weren't, and there were people around that didn't care. So.
Yeah, this is a great version of us. I agree.
Yeah.
So believe it or not, like we're at the point where we normally ask our final question already. I mean, it feels like we've been talking for 5 minutes here, but it's well more than 50, almost 60. So, the final question is the same for every guest, no matter what the topic. If you've already said the answer, feel free to repeat it. So the question is, if you could leave our listener with one thought today, what would it be?
Wow.
I get that a lot. Wow.
Go to eifrigsellers.com and buy 2019, 2021, 2022 Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and Chardonnay. Put the code in Dan Ferris. No.
We get that a lot too. Go to my website is a popular answer.
Yeah, go to my website. What's the one thought? Yeah, my one thought is, and I've kind of answered it, but it would be, don't waste 2 years of your time deciding to buy an Outback. Instead, just go for it. Life is filled with these decisions that are bifurcated forks or forks with 3 or 4 tines. Just take one and go for it. You'll get feedback soon enough about whether it's right or not. Much of the time, it's completely irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. This 21 Outback has 16,000 miles on it. I haven't ridden in it enough to even think about its enjoyment or its function or its gas mileage or its anything. Like just go for it. And the other side of that is, then take your energy not on procrastinating and hoarding, but spend your time on sort of finding where there's joy, and whether it's encouraging people to make decisions at the company, which I think I spend a lot of my time sort of listening and saying, go for it. But try to find joy, wherever you can, wherever it is. Joking with Michelin-starred restaurant owners. Yeah, just go joy. Life is so short, man. We're all gonna die. I mean, that's the worst part about it is, if you don't do that, I kind of think losing an opportunity, which is meant for us to have, which is joy. So that would be my message.
All right. I like that answer. I like that. Find joy, and don't waste time on decision making.
On a Subaru
Outback, right, on a car. All right, man.
I mean, maybe color of a Ferrari, or maybe color. What are you driving, Dan? This will be
the exact same car I had when I met you.
A Honda?
No, it's a 2004 BMW 5 Series with 100 and some odd thousand miles on it.
You really had that back then?
Or I might have gotten it the year after, actually. I got it in 2000. I got it in 2007 though.
I feel like you had. I feel like you had. What was your car before? Like a Honda,
like a Corolla,
or
that. Did I have?
Yeah, you had a Corolla. I haven't seen the BMW.
That was before 2007 then. Yeah.
Okay, it could have been.
Because I got that in like the spring of 2007. But
I'm not sure what I would have done with you if you picked me up in a Beamer.
Yeah.
It would have been this mixed message. Wait, the guy splits his hot dog, has hot dogs for lunch, drives a Beamer 5 Series.
It was used, and it cost. I traded it straight across for a almost a 1-year-old Honda minivan, because all of a sudden we had this Honda minivan. It's like we reached the peak of minivan and all the kids moved out. I was like, now what do we do?
Right.
So
go to the Beamer. Yeah. Corey, what do you drive?
I've got a Acura MDX.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Third row of seating that I've always forget about, and I've never used it, but it's there if I ever need it.
And probably not that functional. Probably can't get an adult foot in there vertically. It has to probably go sideways.
Yeah. But
my dream, by the way, is to own a minivan someday.
It was in some ways still the nicest car I ever owned. So comfortable to drive.
Yeah.
Drove nice and smooth, and you could get in and out of it so easily. And it had the nice captain's chair. You just sat up nice and high. It was great. I loved it. All right, Doc. Thanks for coming around, man. It's always a pleasure to talk with you.
Thanks for having me, you guys. I appreciate it. Bye.
Thanks.
Cheers. Bye.
Opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the contributor and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Stansberry Research, its parent company, or affiliates.